EA has removed Origins on the house feature, meaning you can't get free games anymore. Oh, and their stocks happen to fall 7%. Are they related?
Hot take!
So this is kind of making the waves right now, but EA stock fell 7%, and there's a bunch of reasons why that happened, but let's just begin here by saying Adam and I are not professors of the stock market. We're not super professional about that stuff.
I don't maths well.
Yeah, we care about video games, and we know what people want to play, so that's where we're looking into this, and there are some issues here that are happening, and they have a direct correlation with how their games have been performing. So.
Right, that's true. So yeah, the stock it's down, it's close to 7%. And it's a lot of people are saying it's basically because the revenue that EA has made has underperformed, and it's true. Like they're down like several hundred millions of dollars at this point. But there are also several other reasons why stockholders could be getting sort of cold feet, because what has led to this
Star Wars.
Yeah, well, thank you. What has led to this dip in revenue? Yeah, Star Wars is a part of it, but we've also seen that EA hasn't released a lot of huge titles.
That's true,
as of
considering,
late.
yeah.
So A Way Out was released, and it wasn't even in this fiscal quarter, but Unravel 2 was kind of sort of the only title that has been...
And it just came out.
Right.
Like so E3, Adam and I were sitting there and we were watching it live, and we were really surprised because we both felt that E3, the worst conference, was definitely from EA. EA just completely underperformed. They didn't show enough. They didn't talk about enough. And then what they did show and talk about seemed to be things that were repeats from the previous year.
And FIFA.
And FIFA. And look,
which is fine.
Now FIFA and Madden, they're getting a new version out soon, right?
Right. And that's why, when we talk about stocks and things are always in flux and shifting. FIFA, Madden, NHL, NBA, all of the 19 games are going to be coming out. They're going to be dropping very close to the holiday season. There's a chance that the stock's going to go back up.
Yep.
But I think it definitely will. But right now, we're just kind of looking at why there's been this dip. Because typically, EA is one company that doesn't see that much of a fluctuation in their earnings.
They're pretty much a stable company.
Yeah, stable or doing a little bit better. So yeah, there's several things that could be an issue. One thing that people have been pointing to and that we've spoken about recently is that Fortnite is a factor. It's a battle royale game, and EA has not really sunk its fingers into a battle royale like title yet, which it's possible that it will in the future. Do we know if Battlefield is going to be a battle royale? It's going to have a battle royale?
They're going to have a mode that's sort of, but it's not going to be the same thing. Like, look, folks, okay? We are not upset at EA. I don't think of EA as this big evil company that exists out there, but that perception is well deserved, okay? They've gone out of their way, they've purchased companies left and right, and they've closed those companies down and have seemed to really not know how to operate those companies or produce new games with those people that they've purchased. A big deal that we've seen in the past was them purchasing Westwood, BioWare, Bullfrog. They've gotten all these companies that had amazing products, amazing games, including Origin. So they bought Origin Systems years ago, and they took their name and turned them into their digital storefront. It's such a weird thing to do with a property you own, is to turn an old video game studio's name into the thing that you sell games on now, right?
Right.
And there's all these kind of things that EA has done in the past that you kind of worry about. And as a gamer, as a fan of the gaming industry, you worry about the developers that are in this kind of area where they don't have this kind of control, and you worry about your favorite franchises basically just falling down and never performing well again.
Right, yeah. And when you're into gaming and not necessarily into sports gaming, and you look at some of the future releases of EA, you start to get a little nervous too. Because we've had discussions about Anthem and how we're a bit underwhelmed with what we've seen so far.
It's really, we're not hearing... I want Anthem to be good.
But all of us do.
Yeah.
Everyone wants Anthem to be good because the team has a pedigree.
Yeah, of course. But everything we see of Anthem always seems to be the same kind of ideas, the same kind of area of the game.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't we're always hearing about people in BioWare shifting around and not staying put.
Right.
And that's becoming a really worrying sign that this game may not come out and perform well. And you know what's really scary too is that the game really seems to be very close to what we already have in Destiny and Destiny Destiny 2, and Destiny 2 had some really bad performance issues that didn't work for a lot of the community out there, and if they're trying to skirt what that is, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, this, like a game like this, EA, they used to release dozens of games every year. Okay,
yes.
So we're at a point now where EA releases maybe it's like under 10 major games a year,
yeah.
and the way that they're doing this is that these games cost a lot of money. They're big budget games. They're huge, and they're being made to have a long shelf life, right? So EA is counting on these games to have some sort of like microtransaction or some other type of like monetization factor to it. So that's why I believe Anthem looks the way it does, because Destiny came out, and Destiny, the first one, was a relatively big hit, right? The second one, it did okay too.
You know, once upon a time, when you saw the EA logo on a box, that was pretty much indicative of it being a good game.
Well, what's the name of the company, Shane?
Electronic Artists, right? That's what it
is. It was electronic. Was it electronic?
Electronic Arts, but like it's the idea was you may not know.
The idea was the artists were there, making these games.
Back when EA first started, the concept was you would get these video games straight from the company, and the game would be in kind of like looked like a record case, basically, right? You'd open it up, and the floppy disk or whatever it would be there that you could play the game with. Inside, you'd have like liner notes, and you'd have pictures of the people that developed the game.
You'd have huge pictures of the people that developed the game, like they were celebrities or rock
exactly.
stars.
And that was the idea, that they were going to celebrate the creators that were making these games, because at the time there was companies like Atari that didn't want that. They didn't want people that created the games being celebrated, because they felt that they owned the games, and it wasn't the people that actually designed them. So Electronic Arts was this amazing company that came out from nowhere, basically, and really changed the way that happened. The company was founded by Trip Hawkins way back in the day, and his ability to really think forward was a really impressive thing at its time, and it really did a lot of amazing things for the industry as a whole. But that was EA of the past,
right?
And now
it's the complete opposite, right? So it went from something that was, you think of artists, you think of color and imagination and creativity, and it's going more towards the like neutral space of like, okay, what's not only safe, but what can we do to make the most money, and possibly, like, maybe I'm talking a little too much here, but
you're not wrong.
Like, how can we take advantage of people that don't want to play the game? They just want the most powerful gun right now. They just want to spend money so that they're more powerful than other people. I don't want to see that in Anthem.
It's true.
Like, we don't know for sure that that's exactly how it's going to be, but
what we saw with Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a great example of that coming to fruition, and the entire community backfired, and the whole thing worked against them. So there are issues with that. But one of the topics that I want to bring up today was EA removing their on-the-house games from Origin. So if you don't know, Origin is their digital storefront that you can get on PC.
Very, very similar to Steam?
Very similar to Steam. Not as good as Steam, I would argue, but one of the things it has on there is the ability, or it did have at least, was a free game that would get released every so often. You could download it. Now, at the point that I was watching and paying attention to it, the free game wasn't something that was regularly coming out like every week. It seemed to come out every month, and then a couple of months. And then the last game that they had on there, which I believe was Peggle or something like that, stayed up there for a really, really long time, like months and months and months. Now, here's the problem with that. Origin was struggling to find its way in the marketplace, and the reason why they were offering on-the-house stuff was because, hey, we need to get people from using Steam to use Origin. I am all for this. I have every reason to believe that it's a good thing to see competition in the marketplace. We need a Steam, we need a GOG.com, we need an Origin, we need a Uplay, because we need to see all these things happening. But when you get rid of the free games that were supposed to honor and represent what Origin was what EA was from the past, that's when you start to get into really sticky territory. At the time that I was paying attention, you were getting classic games like Wing Commander, you were getting things like that. Command and Conquer. Yeah, you were getting these really cool older games that you could play and share with friends. You can't really find these games anywhere else, and to see Origin or to see EA sharing these on the Origin service and giving them away for free was a great reason for people to go get that entire service and to play games on there. But the moment you remove those things and got rid of all that stuff, you're basically telling the community that, oh, we don't care about you.
Right.
We don't care about origin. We don't care about our history. We don't care about what EA used to be. We don't care about bringing that back. We just care about milking money out of you.
Numbers, yeah. That's my huge fear. You know, that's it, right? So Anthem, we had so many talented people on that team. We're starting to see this like. It's like a revolving door, right, of talent, and what we're going to be left with, I feel like, could be like a hollow shell, and it could just be that we're digging for money sort of game that's put out there that people are expected to scoop up because of the name of the developer alone.
Look, I'm not against FIFA. I'm not against Madden. All right, I think that those are great money makers for the company. There's a reason why they make them, and there's a reason why people buy them. And I did play FIFA. I'm not a soccer person, but I did play it, and there is a story mode in there that they put a lot of effort and time into.
It's not to say that there aren't talented people behind these games.
But FIFA also has the use of those trading card systems and stuff like that, and loot crates and loot boxes and all that crap, and you're seeing that in their games, and they're basically using that as a way to get more money out of that one specific game that they made, which is not a smart idea, because you don't take those games with you, or those purchases, and bring them to the next game. You don't do that kind of stuff. And I'm not trying to give you ideas to do that, because you shouldn't. What you're trying to do is create a marketplace within a video game world, which is a closed environment that doesn't focus on making future products and future games.
Right.
Instead of actually making something that's going to last for a very long time, you're focusing on the here and now, and that never expands.
Right.
And that's clearly evident with what happened with Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. And that sort of approach to gaming, it's just it really pushes players to like not care about playing the game.
Yeah.
In the end, all they would care about is like, okay, either spending money or like just grinding to get guns and things. Like I just
the first Star Wars Battlefront game felt rushed.
I said guns, but it's not even just like
it's not
shooting
just
games,
it's,
right?
It's almost everything. I mean, like in FIFA, right? You do that in FIFA as well.
I'm getting all worked up. It's like I was trying to think though. Can you think of the very last like AAA huge game that came out from EA that didn't have some sort of monetization platform to it?
Honestly,
I honestly can't.
No. I mean, Dante's Inferno, maybe? I mean,
see, that's a poll. That's like 2011 or 12 or something.
Geez, well, there's DLC, there's always all this crap that they keep doing. Titanfall 2, we saw a great idea where they actually were giving away the DLC packages for free because they didn't need to charge for that, but the game didn't end up working because they put Titanfall 2 directly against Battlefield 1.
And this DLC thing you're talking about, did that happen before or after it performed
Way before.
poorly?
Way before.
Before?
Yeah,
okay.
they were really trying with Titanfall 2. This is just the thing, though. When they try to do something, sometimes they do it in a half-hearted attempt that doesn't really work for anyone, or when they think there's going to be a lot of money, they just push for it, and they don't think about it. Look, Battlefront 2, I was interested in playing it. Battlefront 1 was rushed. There was a lot of things wrong with it, but there were some really cool things that were good about it. And from what I saw at Battlefront 2, they were really trying to make a better game. The moment I turned on that game and I saw the loot boxes, the crates, when I saw all those things you had to purchase additionally and all that stuff, I completely lost interest and I pulled myself away from the game within about an hour or two of playing. How can you do that? I have sat there and I've played some of the worst video game systems ever in the history of humankind for days and days on end to make videos, and I couldn't do that with Star Wars because the experience was that much worse. There's something wrong there, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that really kills me is that when you look at like a Battlefront game, it's gorgeous.
Oh, right? It's amazing. It's crazy how good it looks.
You can tell that the people that created it really cared about taking what was in the films and putting it there in the game.
Yeah.
And I was with you when you were playing it. I will never experience the campaign mode of that game. And
it's like DICE put so much time and effort into their stuff, but I know for a fact that it isn't DICE that's doing this stuff. It's EA. It's their parent company that's forcing them to do these things. Like, do you remember when Maxis was purchased by EA and then they started making... Yeah,
oh, no,
just the SimCity. That one SimCity game they released that was a cloud-based game that completely destroyed itself. Maybe it was just Maxis. Maybe they were just too ambitious, but that's what a parent company should be doing. They should go in and go, no, you don't need to do this. You don't need to make this crazy experience that's going to destroy the idea of what the game is. Make the game people want. And I think sometimes a parent company, everyone always assumes that, oh, when somebody does something good, it's always the main, the production company. It's always them doing it. But the parent company can step in and make things better. And that's happened in the past. Valve has done it time and time again, where they've walked into a production of something and they fixed it. And there's other companies that do the exact same thing.
Disney walked in and fixed Battlefront for like a hot minute.
Yeah.
They didn't want that monetization, so that's another bigger company coming into EA, right?
And that should never have happened. EA is an experienced company with a lot of developers and passionate people that know what gamers want and know how to deliver upon it. And all they need to do is just really sit there and think about it. But that's it.
So yeah, to cut it short, we don't know why the stocks are falling.
Well, if you've been playing their video games, yeah, you probably can. But what do you think? Do you think EA has a chance to come back up?
I think they will.
Yeah.
Because with Christmas, you're going to see all these huge sports titles. They sell like hotcakes. But do they deserve it? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Are you getting burnt out from EA? If EA was to make a new Battlefront 4 with Star Wars, would you actually go to play the game? Are you excited for the new Battlefield game that's coming out? Or are you kind of worried about that? Let us know in the comments below.